Welcome to the NSCAS ACT 2022-2023. My name is Iris Owens. I am the ACT on-site liaison, and I live here in Lincoln, Nebraska, so that I'm available to you to answer questions. Some of you DACs may be familiar with the ACT and know some things, and others of you, I know I've already spoken to a few of you that have no experience with the ACT, and that's okay. We're going to walk through some of the high level information that you're going to need to know. And then we will have some webinars later this fall to give you step-by-step instructions on how to go through the process of getting ready for the ACT in the spring. The ACT is a state mandated test for the third year cohort. So that for the majority will be juniors, but not always. So you need to make sure that the cohort is for the students that you plan to test are in that cohort, the third year cohort, which will be cohort of 2024. There's a couple other opportunities where they wouldn't be testing if they're an alternate student who has regularly taken the alternate test and they're flagged as an alternate student in the advisor for NDE, or if your student is a homeschool student and does not attend or enrolled 50% or more of the time of the school day. So those are two kinds of students who will not be anticipating to test. And to share with you some of the emails that email addresses and phone numbers. These emails will be coming to you in regards to ACT from state testing, from ACT accommodations, from myself, from the Nebraska Department of Education statewide assessment. And that is regularly DAC updates or specific things that we happen along the way. That's the fastest way for us to contact you and let you know what's going on. My email address and my phone number that is located here first off, because we'd like you to call me first because I have great experience. I've been doing this for 5 years and have a very clear overall view of ACT and how things work. So most often, not always, but most often, I will know the answer to your question. And if I don't, I will find someone who does. You can also call a customer support. I may direct you to call them. It might be a tech issue that I cannot resolve for you, or ACT accommodations. They have specific guidelines that I may not always know. And so sometimes I will direct you to contact them, or you can reach out to them as well. And then there's the NDE statewide assessment office that talks, I usually direct people to them when it's a policy issue, if it's something the state has determined. So those are the phone numbers and the contacts for that. But if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. Even if I don't know the answer, we're going to try and help you all along the way. I know you will have a ton of questions. You'll have a ton of questions now. You'll have a ton of questions later. You'll have a ton of questions when we're all done. It's okay. I'm glad to answer whatever I can for you and help you through this process. And here is the test windows for the spring ACT in 2023, the NSCAS ACT test. And the first test window and the second test window is where we anticipate you will do the majority of your students. Testing those in those two windows. You can choose from either one depending on how your district schedule looks. And then test window 3 is normally for makeup only. So we have dates for paper and pencil testing, which is a Tuesday, March 21st, April 4th, or the makeup date is April 18th. Then there's the accommodations window for paper. And then there are standard and accommodations window for the online test. The online test is taken on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday only. So make sure you check those dates, but you do have 18 days to test online. It gives you much more flexibility than the 3 paper dates. You can choose, if you choose the first test window and you have a bunch of makeup, kids go to a music presentation or a golf tournament or a track meet, anything like that, and they're not able to make that first test window, you can choose the second test window or the third test window dates. We suggest that you consider doing online testing for makeups because that gives you more flexibility and more dates to work with. And if you have questions about testing online, we're going to talk about it a little bit more later, but you can always reach out and ask me. First thing I'm going to ask you to do is click on this link when you get the PowerPoint and save this page, bookmark this page. This is the state of Nebraska ACT website, and it gives you information about the ACT, the pre-ACT, and ACT online prep, depending on what your district chose. This is great information. It provides workshops and webinars and training sessions and manuals and guides, almost everything you could think of in regards to the ACT and what is expected. Currently, the schedule of events for the spring test is not available. That should be coming up here in September, October. That will be updated when we have that available. This is what it looks like when you click on the ACT tab. Gives you 7 steps to go through. It's great information. Each step one step will talk you about how to choose your test date, how to check your students' information, all those kinds of things. Number 2 will talk about online testing. It's great information all through here. There's information about accommodations, online testing, as I mentioned, reports, and how to view scores and how to use that information, how to use that data. So, and if you can't find it on this, please let me know, and I probably know exactly where to hunt it down for you. Okay, thank you. Okay, and then we have the NDE website, which talks more about state policy and information. We have an NSCAS ACT page. It gives you quick links to some of the places that you might need. Talks about things like parental consent forms or score replacement forms, some information that we use on the state level. So check it out. It's got some great information. All right. We're going to move on to ACT accommodations and English learner supports. Accommodations are available for any student who has an IEP, a 504 plan, or has EL supports. These are requested in the test accessibility and accommodation system, which we frequently call TAA because it's a lot easier to say. And this system can be accessed in success.act.org. If you haven't created an account, either as a DAC or as a test coordinator, you really need to do that. It gives you access to student scores and reporting. It's great information, but also to the TAA. Please apply for accommodations as early as possible. We hope that you do that before the end of this first semester. The TAA system opens September 12th for spring testing, and the deadline will be late January or the first week of February. They haven't decided that yet. But the system will have a lot of requests coming in at that time, so you want to get it done as soon as possible. I know that you might not get them all done. You might have kids who come in during the beginning of that January, and then the second semester, you could get those done. But if you have all the other ones done, it's a whole lot faster and easier to get a response of just 1 on 2 versus all of the students you might have. I previously worked in the accommodations department, and so I am aware that accommodation analysts are looking for information on what happens in the classroom, because that is the accommodation the student will be provided. Please provide the IEP or 504 plan, and encourage you also to maybe fill out the teacher survey, because that gives them a really great picture of what happens in the classroom. For EL students, a letter with the school's letterhead and all of the supports that are normally provided in the classroom, and also a screenshot of the student's class schedule showing an EL class is helpful. Also, if you have an ELPA 21 score, that will also provide opportunity for you to for your request to go through pretty smoothly. You may include any kind of additional information about that student, what the staff believes will give a complete picture of the student's needs. If you need to make a change in your test coordinator for the TAA system, you can contact me or call the Accommodations Department for assistance. And there again, I've given you the ACT Accommodations phone number for your convenience. Pearson Access Next, or what I normally call PA Next, some people call PAN, is a system that's located, a system that we provide information for schools to tell us when you're going to do your test. If you're going to do in test window 1, test window 2, if you're testing paper, if you're testing online, and an opportunity for you to review the student roster, as well as set up for online testing. For DACs, test coordinators, tech coordinators, and room supervisors for online testing, they will need to create accounts. If you do not have an account in Pearson Access Next and would like assistance with that, please let me know. The schedule of events, as I mentioned earlier, is coming soon and will be available also on the PA Next homepage. Each district gets to choose that test window. As I said, you will want to use that as your initial test date where the majority of your students are testing. Let us know that. The system will be open for spring test information on November 7th, 2022. Okay, so that'll be the first day that you'll actually be able to tell ACT when you plan to test. Then the deadline to select your test date is Friday, December 9th, 2022. So if you are not sure what your test date is, please refer to that schedule in the beginning of this presentation and try and make that decision, because it's such a short window with where you can put that information in. We'll be sending out information on how to do that. If you have any concerns about how that process works, please reach out. Every year in Pearson Access Next, we've provided profile reports and student data files for both the district and the school, and those are located in PA Next. They are opened on August 18th, and they will be removed on November 4th, 2022. You'll want to download those reports before November 4th. And this will be the last year those profile reports and that student data files will be available on PA Next. In the future, they will be found in success.act.org. You can get those reports now, but in the future, they won't be available on PA Next. The NDE statewide assessment team will provide the student roster. So those students that they anticipate or have expectation of you testing in that third year cohort, the NDE provides that file to ACT. You do not have to submit that. You will need to review that roster when it appears in PA Next in January. And then if you need access or information or have questions about PA Next and the system as a whole, please contact me. I'm glad to walk you through it. If you want, we can do a Zoom call and walk through all the steps. This is what the front page looks like. And it has also phone numbers for you to reach out, and anything that might pertain to that setup is that gear, and that's where you're going to spend most of your time. As you can see in this slide, I have a green arrow where it says ACT. Most DACs with their accounts will have the district show up on that corner. Unless you are downloading those profile and student score reports that come at the end of the year, you want to drop that down and choose your high school, because all the student information, the test dates, all of that information will be on the high school side of things. That's it. It's an important piece to know. So the Nebraska Department of Education in the statewide assessment team has asked all schools to provide a parental consent form This form basically allows the student to request school reports be sent to colleges, or if they choose, be a part of the EOS, which is the educational opportunities where you can get scholarships, information about colleges, all that kind of great stuff. Because the students are normally not of age, legal age, we need to have a parental consent form signed. These forms have not changed from the previous year, but these are links to those forms, and you can also find them on the NDE webpage. And there's some guidance and explanation about it, and you might want to check that out. Online testing. Online testing for the ACT state test can be used for most students, even those who have accommodations for the initial test, or as a makeup option. If you've never tested online, I highly recommend you use that as a makeup option first to see how the process goes and see how easy it is to test students online. There's some detailed information that you'll need to know about preparing for testing online, and those can be found at the online testing manual and the technical requirements. I've provided links to both of those. Proctor caching is not mandatory, but strongly recommended, especially if you have more than a few students who are testing at the same time. If you're testing online for makeup, it's not necessarily as big of a deal. Setup with the mock administration and browser lockdown are essential to success on the online test. All online test accommodations must be requested in the TAA system. If you have requested accommodations but did not ask for online testing, you can call the accommodations department and they can change that access. ACT district choice. So once again, our district superintendents were given a survey to choose one of the options NDE provides to districts. If you have a question about your district choice, you can call me and I can tell you what your superintendent and district chose. The choices were the pre-ACT test. You could choose either a fall test window for the third year cohort, or usually juniors, or second year cohort, usually sophomores, or the spring test for the second year cohort, sophomores, usually sophomores, but that is not available to juniors in the spring, because they are going to be taking the ACT. And then the other choice is the ACT online prep, or as we call it, AOP. That's available for all the third year cohort students. They will have the AOP account available to them for 365 days from initial login. Has been what we've done in the past, but now it looks like it is from October until June 30th. So that'll be opening. ACT Online Prep is going to be opening October 10th this fall. New DACs, you folks who have chosen AOP as your district choice, will receive an email for ACT in late September with instructions and login information. If you, if your school has need of additional licenses, so a license is another word for the account. So sometimes you might have more in that third year cohort this year than you did last year, and if you need more licenses, just send me a quick email and I'll get that processed for you. It usually takes less than 24 hours to get those through. And once a student logs in, the access is good. I just mentioned that until June 30th. Of 2023. And AOP, or ACT Online Prep, provides 2 full-length practice tests and 2 writing prompts that are AI scored, with 4 additional sample questions for each section and 3,000 practice questions. It's a great resource. It's a great opportunity. Educators can go in and schedule things for classroom opportunities. If you have questions about that, let me know. The system has updated their course organization, a new study schedule, test tips, navigation menu, in-app support, and course selection. Some more interesting information is coming out to educators as well. So be on the lookout for that if that has been your choice. If your district chose the pre-ACT, the fall test window, and if you chose fall for either third year or second year cohort, you can test between October 10th and November 23rd. ACT has already provided the schedule of events for the fall pre-ACT that'll talk about when you can order materials. ACT asks that the district, we do that at the district level, not the high school. The spring ACT will have a separate schedule of events. It's kind of like two separate processes. And so, but that schedule event will be available in January or February. The spring test window is to be determined, but approximately mid-March to April, end of April. ACT will provide an email with the schedule of events, including instructions on ordering and deadlines. You will need to order for your test window. If you're testing in the spring, you must wait until February to order. Don't order materials in the fall and hold on to them until springtime. You'll need to order them in February. Make sure to order, whether it be fall or spring, under the Nebraska state contract. If you order under the standard pre-ACT or the bundle, the district will be charged and you will get an invoice, and the state doesn't see that invoice. For assistance with pre-ACT, you can either call this phone number or email them at preact@act.org. But you can also contact me, and hopefully I can help you with that. Here's some important things to remember. You're going to have tons of questions, but prohibitive behaviors and misadministrations can be avoided in the ACT. Please make sure your students are aware not to work ahead or behind and turn your cell phones off. Proctors, we encourage you to have training opportunities with them and reminders of how the process works to have a good testing experience. Online testing provides 18 test dates. So we're asking you to consider that for makeups, or maybe you want to test all your students online. That's okay. We like that too. And sometimes the students really like that. I know I have several schools reached out to me, said their students really enjoy testing online. Accommodation requests can be made as early as September 12th. Consider having your request done before the end of this first semester, so before you go off for Christmas break. If you have questions about anything ACT, please don't hesitate to ask, call or email me with your questions. NDE and ACT want to provide the support for you. So we'll be having webinars to assist you. Those dates and times are going to be coming up here in the fall. We'll let you know way in advance and how to sign up for that. I think for the most part, you're going to have a lot of questions. So hopefully during the Q&A department part of this presentation, I'll be able to answer those for you. So thanks so much. We want to support you however we can. Let me know what I can do to help you. Thanks so much and have a great day.